And good morning. It's your friendly neighborhood Tironan, and today we're reviewing the BF 109Z. And let's review the aircraft a little bit. It's got a 14 second turn time, which for heavy fighters is about 13, 14 is about normal. The aircraft. Airspeed is 429 with the engine upgrade. When we bring it up to the full upgrade, it's 447. That's pretty fast for Tier 7. When you get the airframe upgrade, you get a number of things. Maximum dive speed jumps up, maneuverability goes up to +2. And again, that's the mysterious maneuverability upgrade because it shows not in the least in the turning circle. So, if I could make a suggestion in World of Warplanes, that needs to be explained. You know, when you say +2 to maneuverability, but it doesn't show anything, I'm assuming it doesn't mean anything. And I'm probably wrong, but you need to include what it's actually improving. So, for what it's worth. All right. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the armament because it's pretty good. Let's see here. So it's 180 times 4. You can do the math as well as I can. That's a hell of a lot of firepower. The bad side is you're barely over machine gun range. Okay? Which means when you hit something, you're going to hit them incredibly hard, but you're going to have to get awfully close to do it. I haven't included the bombs and rockets because, of course, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't have enough airspeed for me to justify putting it on yet. With the third engine upgrade, I'll go ahead and put that on. But the thing is, in my opinion, a little slow right now. And it's primarily a boom and zoomer. And as such, it needs to have all the speed it can get, hence the aircraft polish. Alright, so its role. Well, you're going to want to contest with other boom and zoomers, which is going to be your P-38, your Tiger Cats, so forth and so on. As for the strange configuration, it makes a lot of sense, and it was actually used one other time. This aircraft never made it into production. Okay, just didn't. And the reason was that the aircraft was actually produced. It was designed to be a minimal upgrade. They had to add some parts, the mid-wing, and some changes to make it effective. That will probably speak volumes for the gunpowder. As with all boom zoomers, you want to take advantage of your speed, make one pass and kill it. As with all boom zoomers, you want to stay at altitude until you're given a reason not to. Well, I like how these guys appeared out of nowhere. Seems a little cannibalistic to go after another BF-109 like that, but what the heck. He's wearing the wrong colors. Alright, let's see where I need to go next. That takes care of that. I will tell you, with most as with most heavy fighters, the thing you got to worry about most is that P-51. You can't outrace him. You can't outturn him. Yes, you know, and that's true of every single heavy fighter in the game. I only got one lick on him, looks like, with one shell. Alright, so we're moving out, and I have a P-51D on my tail. Alright, it takes care of one ground attack aircraft. I have a P-51D. I happen to know he's no more maneuverable than I am. Well, barely. Alright, this thing as a turn and burn fighter is a pretty good heavy fighter. I'm in a little furball. So trying to get guns on somebody with this thing is half the challenge. And not surprisingly, a turn and burn killed me. He's got a long reach on this Phantom Sousa's. About 2,500 yards, or 2,500 feet, 2,500 yards. Boy, that'd be a hell of a piece of equipment, wouldn't it?
Hang in there. You'll soon be cut off from support. I say again.
Nice shooting by whoever that was. And I see a Hornet. I'm sure those things will be just great when they are fully upgraded. Right now, the one I've got's still waiting for its upgrades.
The enemy is about to win. There's a heavy storm here. Unable to proceed.
Gotta love the gunpowder on these things, though. Oof.
Copy.
Alright, I'm going for another pass here.
Turn back. The enemy force is too strong.
Alright. Alright folks, so that is your BF-109Z from Messerschmitt. 8 targets destroyed, 1 assist point, 4 sections captured. I think we performed pretty well even though we lost. Hate that part of it, but it is what it is. Okay, so I make no apologies for losing that one. Did everything I could do. The upgrade here is, in my mind, open to question. I don't have the money for it right now, but I'm thinking I'd probably go with improved flaps. It doesn't have that many hit points to warrant a reinforced airframe, or engine tuning would be my choices in that slot. Self-shielding fuel tanks just reduces the amount chances of you having a fire. Improved aircraft polish gives you 5% to your speed and 25% to your acceleration in the dive. Note that that does not increase your dive speed. Okay, you get that here. And then here I would probably go with improved flaps. Give you a little more horizontal maneuverability, and God knows you need them with this thing. It's true of all heavy fighters. The F-4F is a very similar aircraft and has the same issues. And you'll see it in the and we'll see a lot more of the XS5U in the coming weeks as I grind through. But this aircraft is a great boom and zoomer. Does just fine. I expect it to do a lot better with that. I am not sure that I would go and get the bomb. 447 is pretty decent. Slowing down your airspeed by 7 miles an hour, well, maybe that'd be alright. But when you come up here and you get 18, that's pretty good. And you can live with 441 or 440. So it's probably worth getting the bombs at that point. As for the history of the aircraft, let's go over that because I kind of shortchanged you there a little bit, and I do like to go over the history of these aircraft. The Messerschmitt BF-109 airframe was essentially out of gas. And the thing that you're going to ask me is, why? Well, that's a fair question. I mean, people can point to the Spitfire, for instance. Let's go to the Spitfire. And I happen to have a 1A and a Mark 14. And I want you to notice the differences here. This is a 1A. It has the 8 machine guns on it. Okay? Small, light, wrapping the biggest engine they could put on it in the smallest airframe. It ensures that you have good climbing capability. It ensures that you have great speed and the large elliptical wings. Assure that you have great turning capability. And it did. All right. But when you look at that against the Spitfire Mark 14, they have, the only thing you see between these aircraft is a general, the elliptical wings and general planoform. You could not take a single part on one and put it on the other. All right. You'll notice that the plane is shorter, rounder. This is an entirely new airframe. This is a much larger engine. This aircraft almost doubled in weight to this. All right. Another aircraft that people will point out when I say it was out of juice was the P-51. Well, the P-51 was designed, I'm going to say about 5 years later. And again, it's a case in point. I don't have a P-51A. If I did, I would throw it up there. Well, let me throw that up here real quick. You could not take a single piece off this and put it on a P-51D, let alone a P-51A. Totally different engine. The airframe, if you sit the two side by side, they have nothing, very little in common. And I actually got to a airfield, and my dad took me when I was very young, mid-teens. That was a long time ago. And you could actually buy P-51Ds from the military and put them together, and that's what this company was doing. And what you found was that the two aircrafts were sitting side by side. You had an H and a D there. And when you looked at them, they were different aircraft. Did they share a lot of form? Could you see the family lineage? Yeah. But you couldn't take a single part. You couldn't take the wheels off this thing. The cowling was different. If you look at the underside, and if you have a P-51D or A, B, I guess, would be more like it. The A was an Apache attack aircraft, called the A-36, by the way. You'll notice that the entire underside has been redesigned. The cowl has been redesigned. The backside has been redesigned. This has been redesigned. Different engine here. Still a Packard, but it was a much uprated Packard, and it was bigger, heavier. And this was a much lighter aircraft. This aircraft was doing, in some tests, it was coming up as high as 490 miles an hour against the 440 of the P-51A, or P-51B, I should say. So this airframe had never been really redesigned. They would put better engines, they would revise the wings, they would do this, they would do that, but they never completely redesigned it. And as such, it was out of gas. And the aircraft that was designed to replace it was the ME-209. Now in the game, it's a world beater. In reality, It was an aircraft that that failed. It wasn't any more maneuverable. It didn't carry all that much heavier armament. It couldn't outperform in a 109, and a 109 wasn't outperforming the majority of what the Allies had. It was so bad that the RLM, which is the Reich Air Ministry, said, don't design any more aircraft with propellers. I want you just to, this is late 44, by the way, and the Swallow was coming out, which is the ME-262. And they said, essentially, you needed to stop wasting effort on this and get to the Swallow and jet-propelled aircraft and don't spend any more time on it. But this was a minimal upgrade for them. And so they started this in about 1943. And the idea was you didn't have to make a whole lot of changes. You took two fuselages, you ferried one over, you put in this mid-wing, you redesigned the tanks a little bit, and you threw some additional armament on it. And that was fairly simple. And it took about a year to get the prototype up. And the prototype was sitting in a hangar when an Allied bombing raid damaged the aircraft so bad that it couldn't be repaired. And RLM said, you know, you already have the Swallows coming out very shortly. It's a much superior aircraft. We're not going to waste time or money on this aircraft anymore. And that was it. So it never flew. So everything you get here is notional. Nobody really knows what it could do or couldn't do or what its problems would or wouldn't be. There was an aircraft out there, and we'll show you it. Called the F-82. And that was the North American Twin Mustang. Let's pull that up. And it was designed for to actually have two pilots in it because the use of the flights were so long in the Pacific that it was thought that, hey, you can let one pilot rest and the other one fly for a while, and then the other one could take over. And how they're going to work that out operational wise, I didn't know, but it mostly flew with one pilot. And there are more than a few built, as you can tell. Maximum speed was 461, and the range was 22.4. Cruise speed is 286. Still carried the 650 calibers, the rockets, and bombs. So, and it was used extensively in Korea. And it followed the P-61 out there. So it was an interesting aircraft, to say the least. And that was the same concept that was used here. They were developed totally separately, of course, but there you go. All right, so that wraps up our first review of the BF-109Z, Zwilling, which means twin. And we want to thank you for spending time with us. I appreciate you more than I can say. The channel continues to grow. I'm having a great time producing the content for you. I sure hope that you enjoy the content I am providing for you. And please remember to like and subscribe. Thank you so much. You have a great day.